Spurs have lost their last two. A rough weekend minus David with a loss here to Utah, although they played very well, losing by 2 points in the last moments. Then they followed that up with a terrible fourth quarter in Phoenix on Sunday night, which they were outscored 29-10 and wound up losing the game by 18 points.
Well, right now they just have to make sure and come out with a lot of energy here and take care of the responsibilities. They're a little short-handed on the scoring end, but the important factor is they still have a good defensive team to be able to get these guys to make plays when it counts.
Minnesota has won 6 of the last 8 meetings. They swept the series last year, taking advantage of the David-less Spurs. And as we mentioned, keep in mind, folks, David Robinson is out, Chuck Person's out, Sean Elliott is out. Those were the 3 significant injuries that ravaged this team last year. So it's essentially last year's team with a Jaren Jackson in there and also now Tim Duncan.
They're lucky to have Tim on board now. Everybody has to rally and make sure they get off to a good start here.
Joe Forte, Scott Wall, and Sean Corbett referee. Spurs are 36-18. Only 2-4 since the All-Star break. The Wolves are 30-23. They have gone 4-3 since the break. Stephon Marbury immediately up the floor to Porter. The loop to Garnett. They surround him with a couple of defenders. Stanley Roberts gets fouled by Tim Duncan.
Wow, they moved that basketball around. And I don't think Tim was aware that Stanley Roberts was coming right down the middle. Once he took that leap into the air, just slapped him on the wrist and given an opportunity for 2.
Duncan is going to guard Kevin Garnett to open the game, and Will Perdue is going to guard big Stanley Roberts. Roberts is playing quite well with the start tonight. Now he has started at center for the Wolves in 13 of their last 14. His weight is down. He's right around 300 pounds, Rowe. And although he's a poor free throw shooter like his former teammate at LSU, Shaquille O'Neal, he has played well this year.
Well, the thing about it, if he can stop with the battling with the weight, he's a guy that can really make a difference on the court. Last week he played against Hakeem Olajuwon and did a pretty good defensive job against him, so he can be a viable part of their team.
Well, people have a propensity to just dismiss a weight problem, but it can be as insidious for athletes as drugs or alcohol or any other off-the-court vice. Stanley Roberts has just eaten his way to the end of the bench in the NBA, and now he is in better shape and trying to play better. Duncan gets very deep and scores on Kevin Garnett. What a matchup we're going to have tonight at power forward.
We sure are. With that kind of position, if he gets it, you know, Tim is a high percentage shooter, so he should be making a whole lot of shots if he can get that great position.
Wolves still looking for their first points after Roberts, only a 52% free thrower, missed both. Stephon Marbury having a hard time with his shot lately. Rebound to Garnett, and he ties the game at 2.
Yeah, the offensive rebound and getting an opportunity to get second chance shots and being so close to the bucket make it easier.
Tim Duncan slides down low. And David Robinson and Tom Gugliotta have been healthy for this game. That would have been the small forward matchup. But now Garnett and Duncan slide up to power forward. There's Stephon Marbury, lightning quick. And a little out of control at times, but he avoided a turnover there. Sam Mitchell, watched by Perdue. Mitchell loves the baseline, but not this time. He throws it away after being bumped.
Sam didn't know exactly where he was going at that time and looked for a bailout and just wasn't there.
Nobody's guarding Jaren Jackson. Now Terry Porter gets out on him. Jackson all the way to the goal. Almost tipped it in. Rebound pulled by Stanley Roberts. Spurs off to a poor shooting start. They have missed 3 of their first 4. Garnett. That is where he has gotten immeasurably better from his rookie year when he could really not make a 15-foot shot. But now, Rolando, he can step it out to about 20 feet.
Completely a more dangerous basketball player. Now combined with that, once he gets some more of a power game, he's going to be completely unstoppable.
Garnett will turn 22 years of age on the 19th of May. Duncan is just slightly older. Tim will be 22 on April the 25th. Jaren Jackson, a 3-point goal, and the Spurs have a 5-4 lead.
Well, you see what's going to be happening again. Tim is going to get the ball, be the catalyst for the good shots that the Spurs get once they can rotate that ball around the perimeter.
There's a switch now. Jackson guarded Garnett as the Spurs got caught in his switch. Kevin Garnett, who they want to be more assertive offensively in light of the injury to Gugliotta, clearly is early in this game. He has hit his first 3 shots, He has 6 points.
Well, right now he's getting too good a position. 2 shots inside, very easy, and of course an open jumper. So you got to make it a lot tougher for him in seeing that bucket.
They They do not double team Duncan. They do, but it was late. And Duncan stepped right through it. So Duncan will be on the free throw line for 2.
Now watch the Spurs on this play now. He misses the shot, gets an opportunity. Will gets the rebound, which they're going to need tonight to make sure they get an opportunity for more shots at the basket. Ends up in Jaren Jackson's hand, and that's what Jaren has to do, though. Be able to put that ball in the hole.
And not to be overlooked was the pass of Vinny Del Negro. And what Vinny is thinking is, a lot of times when teams are scrambling defensively, they'll just fire out at that first shooter, and you can get them so off balance by simply catching the ball and just moving it to the guy next to you.
And that's exactly right, and that's what Del Negro is doing right now. Also moving the basketball so fast, they're keeping their minds off of him. And pretty soon, they're going to go to the second pass, and he'll be the one that'll be open.
The statistics we're giving you the last 10 days are a 5-game stretch encompass a loss of David Robinson, essentially. David did play the first half of the first game of these numbers we're giving you, but he had to beg out of halftime against Phoenix that night. Quite a different basketball team in all areas, obviously, without Robinson. Rebound pulled by Will Perdue. Tied at 6 after the Duncan free throw, and the Spurs try to reclaim the lead. Kevin Garnett this time fronting Duncan. They still want to get him into 10. Shot clock ticking down to 10 now. Will Perdue and Vinny Del Negro, a dangerous pass to Will Perdue. And Terry Porter gets fouled by Vinny. That is the athleticism and the length of Kevin Garnett to step out and steal that ball off the floor.
Exactly. Well, Vinny was about to make a nice play right there off the double team. Just about to make a nice play off the double team, but I think Terry gets his hand on it a little bit, intercepts the ball, and of course, you know, this guy can dribble and make plays coming down on the floor.
Terry Porter has had a renaissance this year. Very solid numbers. With Tom Gugliotta out in the month of February, he's averaging almost 16 points a game. Tonight he is starting his 3rd in a row at the off-guard position. Of course, that is the spot normally held down by Chris Carr, who has missed the last 11 with a sprained left ankle. But Chris Carr has been activated for the game tonight. The Wolves would rather not play him, but if there is a situation where he has to get in, he is available.
And he is available, and also he can handle the situation too, because if he comes back shooting the way he was at the beginning of the basketball season, they have a guy that can put that ball in the hole consistently.
Terry Porter, 85% free thrower, made those 2, and Duncan right back ties it with a putback jam.
This is a great opportunity right now for the Spurs to get off to a good start and be able to make this team wilt a little bit and show that they're in this game to win.
Garnett, so skilled down low, turns towards the baseline. Kevin Garnett has hit his first 4 shots tonight. He has 8 points.
I don't know if there's going to be any kind of switching going on there, but he cannot guard Garnett by himself.
Speaking of Jaren Jackson.
Yes.
Avery finds himself open, but not for long. Garnett got that. Duncan up over Stanley Roberts. Perdue just bats the rebound, but Garnett claims it. Marbury, so dangerous in the open floor. The late kick out to Mitchell, that's his spot. He loves that baseline 15-footer.
Every time you see Sam Mitchell, you'll see him stand his ground right there for that nice, easy jumper.
Well, Kevin Garnett having a tremendous impact on this game on both ends, forces Greg Popovich into an early timeout. (14-10) Minnesota. They have hit 6 of their first 8, relying heavily upon Garnett. Marbury just 1 shot attempt so far. I think he's throwing up a heat sensor just to see how hot he is on that one.
Very true, but that was the only shot he had a hand in his face. The rest of the shots he was looking at clear and pure orange.
Jaren Jackson, a 3-point goal. You didn't like that shot from Jaren.
No, but Jaren shoots the basketball much better when he's standing still and making sure he gets a clear shot at the basket, but not necessarily on the move.
Mitchell draws a double team, steps back. Rebound by Jaren Jackson, taking one away from Will Perdue, and Will wanted that one.
You know the big men want their stats. Give me my rebound.
Will is one of the most productive rebounders in the NBA per minute. Tim Duncan gets doubled and fouled. See who they give it to. Garnett was on Duncan's left and Roberts was on his right, and they give the foul to Big Stanley.
And Tim does such a good job, really, of putting some nice... Right here, take a look at Tim right here, getting some great positioning, also a great pass, leading into the basket, getting an opportunity to get there. But the important thing is just to make sure and get that great position before the pass comes in.
Stanley Roberts has 2, and he's probably gassed anyway at this point of the game. So he'd be leaving anyway. And Cherokee Parks having a very good first season, or actually second season with the Wolves. He played 1 year in Dallas, then came here before last year.
And that's anytime anybody's wanted. Also, is getting an opportunity now to get some playing time and be consistent in what he has to do. Also looks like he lost some weight too.
14-11 from the corner. Kevin Garnett misses. And the rebound to Cherokee Parks. Marbury being very discerning with his shot. Terry Porter well covered by Del Negro. Will Perdue had the position and the strength to keep it away from Parks. Del Negro scores. And the Spurs are back within 1. Here comes Minnesota. Right back. Marbury. And the ball was tipped out by Avery Johnson. Good defense by A.J. to get back. And without Tom Gugliotta, their best low post scorer, the Timberwolves really have the hammer down on the fast break. Monty Williams will come in for Jaren Jackson. Jaren made an early game 3 and missed 4 shots, wound up 1 for 5 from the floor. Monty Williams' role will continue, at least he hopes to continue his hot roll.
And he's been doing a great job. This has got that rebound right there to be a positive influence every time he gets to the basketball games.
It started 1 week ago tonight with a superb performance against Grant Hill and the Detroit Pistons, and he has had just a very good week. Will Perdue had that ball right in his lap and has bobbled it away.
Just wasn't ready for the pass.
Marbury. He rattles one down to give Minnesota a 16-13 lead. Marbury is Minnesota's second leading scorer behind the injured Gugliotta at better than 19 points a game.
He's a big catalyst for their basketball team, and I don't know how he got left off that all-star team.
Spurs 3 turnovers, and the Timberwolves only 1. They have converted on each of the first 3 with a basket. And make it 4. No. Well, Garnett will get fouled as he bailed out Terry Porter. Porter made a mistake on the drop pass, but Garnett aggressively ran the floor anyway, just in case. And as he went up for a dunk, he got low-bridged.
Put himself in a great opportunity right here. Terry Porter was trying to throw it back, I think, to Sam Mitchell and missed the pass. There's Garnett just making the play up, putting it on through.
You know, it's unfortunate Garnett signs this massive contract, and now every column you read gets on the guy. And if somebody offered you $126 million, I think you'd take it. And you have to be somewhat careful who you offer it to. He has not done a whole lot in his NBA career, and he's still very young, bro, but what an immense talent. This guy could play anywhere along the front line. And I think if you wanted to play him at guard, he could guard 2 guards in this league.
I think so, simply because he's so young, he's fast, he's very wiry, long player, and a guy who's very smart and also works very hard also. People don't realize that this guy's putting the time in to be a better and a great player.
And he has that gleam in his eye. When he came out to warm up before the game, he had a little wink for the referees. Vinny Del Negro answers back, and the Spurs, despite being outplayed in this early game, are hanging right in here.
It's a nice play right there for Vinny Del Negro. Worked real well, even though they lost the game against Phoenix.
They've got to come up with an answer for Garnett, although when he jumps, much like Michael Jordan, you could have all 5 guards guarding him, but when he goes in the air, no one's guarding him.
No, but first of all, he's getting the basketball in too good a position, so he only has to use 1 bounce in order to score.
Duncan lost the ball in traffic. Here come the Timberwolves up by 5. Terry Porter gets fouled. He figured he could not score, so the next best thing was to get to the line, where he's a great free throw shooter.
He went right to the basket on that one, too. Didn't even look for the layup on that play.
Second foul on Monty Williams since coming into the game. Monty's only played 2 minutes. Carl Herrera comes in early. And you should look for Willie Burton to play tonight. He was signed to a 10-day deal this morning. Did take part in the Spurs shoot-around, but basketball's basketball. Just clear the side and let him go.
Well, he has to get a chance to get on out there and try to utilize the skills that he has, because he can score, just depending on how the team does in this first half, to see exactly how they come up against this Minnesota team.
Well, judging by the first 8.5 minutes, Ro, they're going to need his offense. They are 6 for 16 from the floor, the Spurs, and they've turned it over 5 times. And right away, you see there's a big X in the middle of numerals 2 and 1 on Tim Duncan's back. They're swarming him.
You know, guys like Vinny Del Negro, as the play, we all know that he loves to come around that curl. We worked very well in the Phoenix basketball game. We have to continue to go to him and see if he can create off of that play.
Marbury gets very aggressive with his defense on Avery Johnson. Pick and roll. Avery comes out the weak side, throws it away. Wolves run out. Marbury. He'll finish himself by Del Negro. Another turnover. The Spurs' 6th of the quarter turns into more points for Minnesota, where they're killing the Spurs is in points off turnovers.
Exactly, because they're giving them an opportunity just to get some free stuff going right up onto the break with these guys running down and making baskets.
Carl Herrera checks the clock. It reads 6. He has to go to work now on Cherokee Parks, and Parks fouls him. Timeout called by Flip Saunders. Watching the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Dome for a second time this year. They defeated the Spurs here back on the 15th of November, 105-94, as Kevin Garnett went for 26 points. Well, he may better that tonight. And by halftime, he already has 14.
Yeah, well, he's flowing right now, too. And Greg, you cannot play a guy and let him get easy shots at the beginning of a basketball game, especially a great basketball player, because these guys will just roll on you, get comfortable real quick, and all of a sudden now you have to utilize your whole team and try and stop them.
Carl Herrera will be on the line after being fouled heading into the break by Cherokee Parks. Carl Herrera played 24 minutes in Phoenix on Sunday night, scored a dozen points. And he followed that after the good game against the Utah Jazz the previous night, when he also played in the mid-20s. He played 26 minutes that night.
Every source of points that the Spurs get is going to be very positive.
Anthony Peeler, the newest Timberwolves. They got him from Vancouver in the Doug West trade last Wednesday. Cherokee Parks on the reverse lay-in. Cherokee Parks, a very athletic big man. He can put it on the floor. He can also shoot it with range. Here's Peeler guarding Del Negro, though.
Got a nice acquisition right now.
Shot clock down to 5. Duncan is doubled immediately on catch. Monty Williams without the basketball, plays smartly for a basket.
That's an excellent play right there. Instead of staying in the corner, he knew that Tim needed him to cut, and he did just that to get behind the defense.
Kevin Garnett fouled. Late whistle there, but a foul called on Duncan by Scott Wall. Second foul of the game on Dunk. We'll see what Pop does here with less than 2 minutes to go. I think he's going to be forced to get him off the floor and bring Will Perdue back in. Will now strolling down the table.
Every time you leave your feet, though, you put yourself in a vulnerable situation for a referee to make a call when someone is taking that shot because you're out of defensive position.
And any time the Spurs are forced to take this guy off the floor, they leave themselves in a vulnerable situation. Right now you've got Tim Duncan over there watching in foul trouble, joining Sean Elliott, David Robinson, and Chuck Person, arguably your 4 best offensive players.
Got some guys to play, but right now with Avery Johnson and these guys on the basketball floor, Herrera, also Vinny right now is going to have to become a catalyst and put some points on the board.
Carl Herrera can score down low. He could also force a double team. He does both and scores.
That's what you want right there, utilizing him in his position of strength, especially if Minnesota's not going to double team and he'll have one-on-one situations to look at.
Herrera's got to guard Kevin Garnett now, and Garnett misses the jump shot. Garnett made his first 5 shots, but he's missed now 3 of his next 4. Pick and roll. Timberwolves played aggressively, forced Vinny an off-balance shot, but he made it.
That's exactly what you need right there, though, being able to utilize the situations when they get a good opportunity. Vinny Del Negro with the basketball, having a chance to go for 2 without running a play.
Spurs got called for the obligatory delay of game. Spurs are really playing well in this quarter, folks. They'll be down only 3 against this team being, I think, badly outplayed. And to be down only 3, now make it 5, is a good sign. But a bad sign is, how are they going to guard this guy without David Robinson?
Yeah, but look how easy he's catching the ball. He just makes one cut along the baseline off of one screen. He comes wide open, takes 2 dribbles, and just turns around and shoots the basketball off the glass.
He has scored 17 points in the first quarter. Avery left open from the corner. Rebound Sam Mitchell. Mitchell really gives this team some veteran toughness. And Garnett gives them all the youthful exuberance and amazing talent. Anthony Peeler, a 3-point goal. Long rebound to Perdue. Here come the Spurs. Monty Williams, Del Negro, got it.
Those are the good plays right there. Everybody just has to stand strong, make sure they get rebounds, move the basketball up the floor, but be able to use your strength and shoot that ball.
And your strength right now is the hot end of Vinny Del Negro. He is 4 for 4 in the quarter. He has scored a Spur-high 8. Here's your last play. Middle's open for Marbury. You know where he's going. Well, he threw it away. Marbury really looking not to shoot the ball, almost like his intent tonight is not to shoot.
Well, right now he's been coming out the last couple of games and just trying to tell me to pass the basketball, get his teammates involved.
Well, Mike Bibby is a tremendous player. He could walk into the pros next year and dominate. Michael Dickerson's not bad. Of course, Miles Simon. What a shot he made last week to win a game at the buzzer.
And also that's a strong backcourt you have to go up against.
The whole state of Arizona just has great guards.
Watch the little shuffling going on here between Herrera and Garnett.
They get after each other. Carl Herrera standing his ground with Kevin Garnett. Good to see it.
These are the kind of things that have to happen sometimes also. Maybe that'll get Garnett a little bit out of his position exactly for playing this game.
They did knock the clock up to better than 2 seconds to go, but now they've put it back to 1.8. That's Garnett time as he gets the loop and misses the shot. Well, Kevin Garnett has to settle for a 17-point first quarter. Tonight, the Spurs brought out Doug Moe and honored the franchise's all-time winningest coach. He's joined by Russ Bookbinder, the Spurs front office. You had a few run-ins with Doug Moe throughout your career when you were playing with the Mavs.
I've heard him call me a whole bunch of names, too.
Hey, Chris Carr is going to get in the game tonight. Carr just activated off the injured list, and he's not going to wait to feel it out. He goes right to work shooting.
Well, it's the important part for Chris is that he knows that his key to him is to put that ball in the hole, and that's from long distance.
Bill Perdue sets a screen for Vinny Del Negro. They double Vinny. Perdue, good skip pass to Avery. Up top, Monty. Somebody's got to shoot it, and Vinny's the guy you want. He has hit 5 for 5.
A good play right there by Monty. Had an opportunity to get it on down, but got it to the shooter in Vinny Del Negro.
Flip Saunders complaining. He thought there was a push-off on that play. Will Perdue grabs the rebound. Spurs coming to life here early in the second quarter. Tim Duncan still resting after leaving late in the first quarter with a second personal foul. Right into Karl. Nice pass by Perdue. Then back to Will. Nicely done.
Excellent basketball play right there. Good recognition by Herrera to see that he got doubled, and Will to recognize that he had the lane open and went down for 2.
The finger roll by the Iceman, Will Perdue. And the Spurs take a 1-point lead. Garnett the pick and roll with Marbury. Garnett now with 19 points. The 17 he scored in the first quarter, 5 off the most ever scored against the Spurs in one quarter. We go back to 1983. Dallas Mavericks, San Antonio Spurs, and Rolando Blackman went for 22 at reunion.
Oh boy, I was motivated. Mostly I was scared because I was playing against George Gervin.
Avery, left-hand runner. For Avery Johnson, that's his first basket of the game. He had missed his opening 4 shots tonight, and this, of course, off the rough one he had in Phoenix on Sunday when he missed 5 of his 6 shots and scored only 2 points against Jason Kidd. Ball knocked out, and the Wolves will keep it.
That's a great play right here. Will goes down the middle right after he gets a nice pass from Karl Herrera, but you had to go down the middle instead of taking that jumper, and Will did a great job.
Will Perdue, 8 rebounds already tonight. And that basket is second of the game. Terry Porter from the corner scores. Porter now playing at point guard. Stephon Marbury has left for the Wolves. Anthony Peeler plays at the off-guard position. Chris Carr, small forward up front. They stay with Garnett and Cherokee Parks. Jaren Jackson. Good defense by Peeler. Herrera going to face up, now back and spin and fire, and the rebound to Chris Carr. Carr picked up by Avery Johnson, and Avery goes right at it and gets a turnover. Nicely done and smartly done by Avery.
That was smart by Avery. Put the pressure on a non-dribbler. He didn't have the opportunity to make any plays out of it. Comes right here. He said, wait a minute. You can't really dribble the ball that well. And comes right up on him, puts the pressure on him, and he loses it out of bounds.
And Avery, after picking up that steal, will take his first rest of the game. Reggie Geary comes in to play at point guard. Reggie has the ball, trying to get it into Monty Williams. And a flop from Chris Carr, and the referees buy it. And they lay the offensive foul on Monty Williams.
That's exactly right, Greg. What you do is you get into a physical battle before the ball gets into it. And all of a sudden, when a player rearranges himself to get into position, you fall on the ground. Call goes against you.
And Greg Popovich is going to have to rearrange his rotation here. 3 fouls on Monty Williams, so he's going to bring into this game Malik Rose. Malik has not played a single minute since the second half of the season has started.
Well, not like anything else. Everybody's counted upon to do a good job. You get your opportunity just like Monty Williams does. Be able to be ready for when your time is counted.
Battle for the rebound, Perdue and Carr. Perdue tried to get the Carr miss and ricocheted over to the Spurs. We have played 3 minutes and change in the second quarter. With Duncan out of the game, the ball goes into Carl Herrera virtually every time. He takes the fade again, makes it, and this time gets fouled. What a tough shot that was.
That was sweet because he had to get the basketball out of position, dribble himself into a position where he got it, and then turned around and made it up over a leaning Cherokee Parks. See, watch, he catches the basketball and dribbles into his position. Right here, picks up the dribble, and then Cherokee Parks has all kinds of pressure on him, and he goes right up over the top for 2.
That was a deep shot. That was about a 12-footer, and by the time he released the ball, it's about 15.
That was tough.
Parks will sit down, and Stanley Roberts comes back in to play center for Minnesota. Stanley Roberts has remained virtually injury-free this season. He's played in 51 of the Timberwolves' 53 games. Of course, he has been ravaged by injuries over the last 4 seasons.
That all has to do also, Greg, with just being in better condition, better shape, bodies in better control, and you'll be able to play a lot longer and to play a lot stronger.
All that girth he had just wore down on his legs. He tore an Achilles 1 year, came back the next year and tore the other one. Had an ankle injury last year. There was a ruptured disc in his lower back. But Stanley is down to about 300 pounds, as we mentioned. We don't know how much weight he lost because he never would admit to what he was up to, but you'd have to think in the 340, 350 range.
Yeah, but he even looks better right now. Even to the look, you can see that at least he looks like he's in better condition than those other years that he was out there looking very, very big.
He just decked Reggie Geary. He laid a right forearm across Reggie and just knocked him down. And now he's wondering why he got called for the foul, and now he's going back to the bench.
He didn't even look to go around Reggie on that play. He was going over. There's a pick coming down. He just ran right over him.
We have played 4 minutes of this second quarter. Greg Popovich giving Tim Duncan a long rest with 2 personal fouls. Spurs hanging in without Dunk, are down only a point. Carl Herrera has been a big reason why.
Exactly. He's become the point man, the catalyst. Get him the basketball and see if he can get other guys good shots.
And he's so good out of a double team. Here he feeds Jaren Jackson for Jaren's second 3-pointer of the game.
The thing about it, Herrera knows the game. You see how he baited everybody in and got Jaren that nice 3-point shot.
The Spurs are leading this game by 2 points. Here's Tom Hammonds in for the first time for Minnesota. He turns and scores over Carl Herrera. Hammonds has played with Denver the last 4.5 years. They released him in September, and the Wolves signed him in late November, and he's played well.
Oh, yeah, he looked very, very comfortable and strong and confident on that shot, too, as he backed Herrera down and went right up over him.
Ball was tipped by Terry Porter, no over and back. Spurs have plenty of time. Shot clock now at 10 as Herrera gets it. Malik Rose dives through, no pass. Illegal defense going to be called. No, pardon me. A 3-second violation on the Spurs. Looked like illegal D was going to be the call. That's what Pop thought. He's going to walk out. He's exasperated with the officials here. Terry Porter being hassled by Reggie Geary as he comes forecourt. Feeds it over to Chris Carr. Double team. Malik Rose with the steal. Here come the Spurs. Geary to Jackson. Jaren takes the baseline. Reggie floats open. Good look into Herrera and a basket. The Spurs lead by 2.
Excellent play right there by Reggie Geary. Didn't really want to take the shot on that play. Herrera was open right there for him to put the easy layup in.
Carl Herrera has scored 8 points off the San Antonio bench. Terry Porter with a 3 right back. Long rebound. Geary escorts out of bounds. And the Spurs will get the ball back. Carl Herrera serving a couple of roles here, able to, of course, give the Spurs an inside scoring presence and also allow Tim Duncan to rest a little bit and not be brought back too early. When he does come back, of course, he's going to have 2 fouls.
Well, simply because he does those 2 things well, though.
Will Perdue thought Herrera was going to roll to the basket. Herrera flared towards the wing. Sam Mitchell, again from the baseline.
Man, does Sam love that shot of what? You ever see him all throughout his career on the baseline, catching that ball and putting that ball in the hole?
Sam Mitchell at age 34 in the final year of a 3-year contract. Same situation with Terry Porter. Inside, Malik Rose blocked by Cherokee Parks.
Malik got good position on that play. Just needed to take his time just a little bit more to be able to put that ball in the hole.
Reggie Geary. Will Perdue puts it back in.
Nice follow there by Will.
Spurs go up 2. Wonder how much longer Flip Saunders will leave Kevin Garnett on the bench. He's going to get Stephon Marbury back into the game. Well, apparently he likes it hot, as he was very outspoken just before the All-Star selection about the poor weather in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area and how you have to stay indoors and go in these underground tunnels to get from building to building. It's so cold in the Twin Cities, and he strongly intimated that he would not re-sign with this team.
Yeah, he's talking about that, but I think he's just talking to the owners so they can put up a pile of cash to keep him warm.
He could build his own personal subway system with the kind of money he would get. Well, what are they going to do? Tom Gugliotta will be a free agent this offseason. They're going to have to re-sign Marbury sometime unless they're going to lose him. Can you have 3 guys make $100 million? In Minneapolis, one of the small markets in the nation, Sam Mitchell called for a foul. And a nice spin move by Malik Rose.
That's all he has to do. Malik is pretty strong on that low post and has some pretty good moves, too. He gets the ball right here. He's a big guy, but he has some nice moves going to the bucket. He just has to make sure and take his time and finish the execution on each play that he makes.
We mentioned Malik has not played since the All-Star break, and he was not playing much leading into the All-Star break. He actually left the team for a brief stretch to be with his mother back in Philadelphia, who was hospitalized. The good news is that she's out and doing much better. Malik is a real well-liked young man. Here he takes the baseline. He can play a little basketball, too.
He can play basketball, and he hasn't played in a while, but he does have some good moves. And you can recall earlier in the basketball season, he was doing a good job of putting the ball on the floor, moving it all around, and he does have a scoring touch. So with him going to the bucket right here, he's a small guy, but he does have some nice moves.
And from time to time on the various talk shows around town, they'll call in and ask why they don't play Malik Rose more. They would like to, but as Pop said earlier in the year, Malik Rose needs time to develop, and he simply does not have the time right now. He's got to win basketball games. But Malik Rose, they've not given up on him, and he will be a guy they're going to look to really grow.
Well, these are opportunities right now that are very important. If all the 3 scores the Spurs have out, good opportunity for him to make some hay here.
He's playing hard. He's playing well. After his 3-point play, he was in on that rebound. Duncan's back into the game now. Turns on Mitchell and scores.
No way Sam Mitchell's going to be able to guard Tim Duncan, especially if it's in a one-on-one situation with such good low post position got by Tim.
Tim Duncan, 8 points. And the Spurs have opened up a lead of 6. Look at the field goal shooting this quarter. The Spurs 75% after shooting 48% in the opening quarter. They're playing much better on defense also. They usually go hand in hand. What a pass by Duncan! He looked like he just stepped right through both guys and fed the ball right through them to Perdue.
That was tremendous play right there.
The Timberwolves have brought Marbury back into play point guard. Terry Porter slides over to 2-guard. Up front they play Sam Mitchell, Tom Hammonds, and Kevin Garnett now plays center. Here he moves on Malik Rose, and the rebound. Perdue able to tip away from Garnett, who almost got his own miss, but it went to Jaren Jackson. Spurs playing Avery Johnson with Jaren Jackson in the backcourt. The front line of Malik Rose. He has resurfaced to play small forward as Jackson misses the 3, and the power guys are Duncan and Perdue. Kevin Garnett, 17-point first quarter, just 2 in the second. Terry Porter the miss, rebound to the long arms of Garnett.
Right now they have to be able to handle the pick and roll. It looks a little bit better right now.
Will Perdue bumping Terry Porter aggressively, picks up his first foul of the game.
Those guys are rolling to the basket off the pick and roll. Also, the guards are coming off of it and are able to look at the basket for clear shots.
The oldest play in basketball, the pick and roll. They've run that play forever and ever. Even the new age here, Marbury and Garnett, they're going to run the pick and roll. Let's see if he can shoot out of it. No. Garnett has lost his shot.
It's a good positioning right there, too. If you can take those shots, you got to let him do that instead of getting that inside position.
And now he's called for a quick foul. Kevin Garnett fouling Tim Duncan. That's Garnett's first foul of the game. Kevin Garnett off to an incredible start. Made his first 5 shots tonight, including a lot of jumpers.
That was the toughest shot he made right there, but a couple of them after that now, he started to get some easy buckets. As he got the basketball and no one was guarding him, he was able to just look straight at the orange and put it through.
But since that 5-for-5 start, he has made only 3 of his last 9.
He's going to keep shooting because he still thinks that he's hot and going to keep putting it together.
Duncan gets 1 of the 2. That's what he's done tonight from the line. He's hit 3 and missed 3. Spurs up 9 late in the opening half. Marbury. What a battle for the rebound. Garnett and Duncan diving all over the floor, and Hammonds gets in there with Perdue.
These guys are going for it all over the place, too.
He can't go skiing or snowmobile, but he can go in a dragster 200 miles an hour.
Man. Make sure to keep that maintenance up.
Kevin Garnett checking out the defense. Malik Rose. Duncan over to double. Mitchell. Shot clock at 10 for the Wolves. Hammonds. Looked like he traveled. Got away with it, and the rebound to Duncan. The Spurs are doing a great job defensively on Garnett. And now the initial defender is Malik Rose.
The good part around that is they're getting him off the block and not letting him catch the basketball, so he has to put a couple of dribbles down with a help defender right close.
Shot clock at 5. Duncan. Rebound to Terry Porter. We have 100 seconds to go in this quarter. A quarter that has seen Minnesota score a measly 11 points. After going for 28 in the first quarter, Garnett had 17 of those 28. That's an impossible shot. Great defense by Duncan. Malik Rose feeds Duncan for a flush, and the Spurs go up 11.
Nice play right there, running down the basketball court, moving the basketball. You saw that ball go from one player to the other, straight to Duncan for the nice put in.
Marbury forcing it and getting himself onto the free throw line. In the first quarter, while the offense was flowing, you saw Marbury back away, but now he's looking to go to the basket.
So watch the ball move right here, too. Couple of passes, putting it right on through. Ball didn't even hit the floor after Jaren threw the ball.
Malik Rose picking up the foul. Malik Rose playing extremely well off the bench because of the injuries and the foul trouble to Monty Williams. Pop turn to Malik Rose here. Tim Duncan will get a late half rest to make sure that he begins the second half with only 2 personal fouls.
Well, we have to make sure and understand still to remember that Malik Rose can play. He's getting a good opportunity to do that right now. He just has to make sure and do a good job and slow down and execute and make good things happen for the team.
Marbury's 2 free throws give him 6, and now he picks up a foul as Avery Johnson, slipping down, was deemed pushed upon by Marbury. Marbury's first foul of the game. That'll put Avery onto the free throw line. Quite a week for Avery Johnson since the second half of the season has started. Well, he has had to go up against some of the best point guards in basketball. Gary Payton the first game back. Jason Kidd the second game. He just had Jason again last Saturday. He had John Stockton he had Jason last Sunday and John Stockton last Saturday.
That type of thing can wear you out too. I can remember days when you have to play against Clyde Drexler, Mitch Richmond, followed by Michael Jordan, and moving on too. So it does wear you out quite a bit.
Well, there's some good point guards now playing in the NBA.
It's pushed right here, but got that good position, which is the most important thing you got to do in order to get some rebounds.
Well, he went directly from Farragut Academy into the NBA. Did not play any college basketball. Will he be able to develop? He's still a pretty fundamentally sound player for a guy who didn't play college at all, but will he be as good as he might have been had he even gone to college for a couple of years?
The thing about coming out of school early is you've got to have some good things in place. And for him, the good thing was that he has a guy by the name of Kevin McHale there that helps him. So when you got a teacher like Kevin, hey, you can negate 4 years of school because you got the teacher right in your own backyard.
Cherokee Parks. He played 4 full years with Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, at Duke. And after watching him labor through his first year in the pros with Dallas, I didn't ever think he'd be this good of a player, but he has really gotten to be a pretty solid backup player.
A lot of it is just developing mentally also, and just feeling comfortable and confident in yourself that you can play in this league. And in Dallas, he didn't have that, but right now, he understands the league a lot better and understands himself better, too.
They're your final seconds of the half. Shot clock at 5, half clock at 9. Herrera! He wants to take him as far out as possible and shoot him as high as he can, bro. He's made some tough shots.
Oh, those are some difficult shots he took right there because he's taking it right in his face and still hitting.
Oh, man, speaking of in your face, Stephon Marbury with maybe a little bit of a foreshadowing effect of what he's going to do in the second half. Ends the first half with a three-pointer. Not technically ending. We have a half second to go, but Jaren, that will not count. Jaren Jackson's last three-pointer does not count. Kevin Garnett, a 17-point first quarter, but only 2 in the second. He's going to have right ankle surgery next week in New York. He's going to miss the rest of the year. He's going to have to repair an ankle afflicted with bone spurs. You have to wonder if he'll play for this franchise again. He's going to be a free agent this summer. Timberwolves wind up at 43% for the first half, 18 of 42. They made only 1 of 4 three-point goals. That was made by Stephon Marbury in the last half second of the half. While the Spurs at 22 of 38 from the floor, including a couple of three-point goals. Third quarter underway. The Wolves have it. Wolves are wearing their third jersey tonight. This is one of their 2 road jerseys, a black uniform. They very often will play with a more of a green tint. Here's Will Perdue against Stanley Roberts. Stanley, quick and right of his hand, and Will stays with it, goes up, misses, stays with it, and gets another shot for his team. It'll be a Jaren Jackson 3. And the rebound ricochets off the 24-second clock. Dead ball to Minnesota.
It was pretty good, though. Will's not too comfortable going one-on-one, trying to make some moves on an offensive player, but he can get that ball back, though, and give others opportunities, which is very, very good for the Spurs.
Minnesota Timberwolves have Stephon Marbury at point guard, Terry Porter at the off guard, up front Sam Mitchell with Kevin Garnett and Stanley Roberts. There's Mitchell from the corner. He likes it left baseline or right baseline.
With a guy like Marbury always probing, requiring 2 people to guard him, you get some nice shots during the game.
Marbury 7 assist row and no turnovers. So Duncan thought he was in, but Garnett recovered to block the shot, and Duncan hit the underneath of the rim, and a foul was eventually called on Garnett.
On the first part of the play, too, he made a move to the baseline, but I think they just got hit on the side of the hoop. And now everybody converges on him, and hands are all over Tim's, and a foul is called.
That is the 3rd foul of the game on Kevin Garnett. So he is the first to hit number 3 after Duncan picked up 2 much earlier.
That'll make you a little bit less aggressive right now. Whoever is guarding, whoever Garnett is being guarded by should be able to go to the basket and be a lot more forceful.
Duncan got 1 of the 2. The Spurs, with a record of 36-18, begin play tonight 2 games behind Utah in the race for the Midwest Division Championship. But Utah, a tough home game tonight against Miami. The Heat coming in with a 6-game winning streak. And in the third quarter of that game, Miami has a 10-point lead at 74-64. So if Miami could win at the Delta Center tonight, and if the Spurs could win this game, they would pull within 1 game of the Utah Jazz.
Those are all opportunities that we all look at right now. So the Spurs have to make sure to take care of their own business.
Tim Duncan scrambling, cannot race down that long pass from Del Negro. It results in the Spurs' 10th turnover. Utah's got a tough week coming up. They're going to be back at home Thursday against Phoenix. And then next Sunday, they're going to be on national TV at Houston. And then in the month of March, the Utah Jazz are going to play 12 of their 17 games on the road. Of course, the Spurs are going to be on the road for most of March also.
Those are the important parts right now. It all comes down to being able to execute and get yourself in position, especially coming down to the end of the season. And of course, for the Spurs, you got to get some guys healthy.
Shot clock at 8 for the T-Wolves here. Garnett going to inbound. And we'll find out more about David Robinson. Hopefully, the Spurs will get him back to practice tomorrow. We'll see. He had a bone scan yesterday, and it came up negative as far as a stress fracture, which is obviously good news. Jackson throws it away along the baseline to Garnett. Here's Terry Porter. And with Marbury running through, Porter shoots and misses. Rebound right to Marbury, but it glanced on the end line before Marbury could get it. And that's a missed shot, resulting in a dead ball rebound of the Spurs.
Stephon getting a little bit frustrated right now, too, because he cut right down the middle, and Terry didn't hit him, so he shook his head at him.
He wanted the ball.
He sure did.
2.5 gone. In a slow starting half for the Spurs. The Spurs have only scored 1 point. That was on the Tim Duncan free throw. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves have gone off a little bit. They have Stephon Marbury slipping in, so Pop will call an early timeout.
You and I both know that he wasn't going to shoot that, pass that ball on that play.
George Gervin certainly would be a good call, along with David Robinson.
Wow, that's a real rough call.
Tim Duncan, maybe by the 50th team, he'll be the all-time best. Or the 30th team.
You never know, but he'll be in there one of those teams.
Boy.
Good position right there by him, and also Will under that board.
57-52 Spurs, and there's a foul out on the wing. Terry Porter trying to go to the basket, bumped and fouled by Jaren Jackson. Jaren's second of the evening. And the reason I mentioned the Utah schedule for March and their game tonight with Miami, winning the Midwest Division Championship is so critically important for the Spurs. And I think even more so in light of this Tom Gugliotta injury. I think the one team you'd like to play in the postseason of all the Western Conference potential playoff squads would be this team right here, minus Gugliotta if you had the home floor.
I agree with you, because it's a weaker basketball team. Dukes makes them a great basketball team in the way he can play with all the great skill that he has.
Stanley Roberts backing all the way in. Did he not travel there?
He traveled a little bit, but he lost the basketball, and now he has to use some energy to get on back.
Well, traveling a little bit is traveling. Let's update you on the Utah game. They're now within 7. It's 81-74. Miami. Duncan out of control, but he gets bailed out with a foul.
Stanley Roberts just couldn't move his feet right there as Tim was coming to the bucket. Put it on through.
Foul number 4 on Stanley. It'll put Duncan on the free throw line, where he is not done as well tonight as in recent games. 4 out of 8 from the line tonight. He had a good game free throwing in Phoenix, hitting 9 of 11, bouncing back after missing those 2 late game free throws against Utah, which would have tied the game. And he continues to struggle tonight.
He just has to continue to work on that. That has to be a daily ritual for him to make sure that he gets that free throw shooting up to speed, because it's going to count in games, especially for a guy like him, who the Spurs are going to go to at the end of basketball games.
Stanley Roberts, after picking up the foul, sits down. And they bring Cherokee Parks back in. Parks playing as the backup center these days, although he has been starting in some of the alignments with Gugliotta out. Marbury. Parks went up, then got spilled, and it's a late foul call on a trip. Let's see if they get the foul on here. Joe Forte is going to call this the tripping foul on the Spurs, right? Yeah, it's on the Spurs. Man, or no, it's on Minnesota.
Minnesota.
It's on Parks?
But Parks, you said 44, but Parks jumped up there and looked like somebody undercut him, and he just went down to the ground.
Was he the tripper or the trippy?
I think he's the one that ended up on the floor.
He got the foul, though. That is the proverbial adding insult to injury. Now Sam Mitchell blasts Jaren Jackson. Jaren rolling over on his left shoulder.
Man, he was straight out of a nice little football play right there as he got hammered.
That's exactly right. I think he has a stinger, which is a very common football injury, as he was holding the left side of his head and chin. That pain shot right down the body. Look, he got hit in the side of the face. Watch this.
Avery gives him the pass, and Sam just comes up off the ball fake right here and just bam.
Oh,
man, boy, I tell you what. Ooh, 1st and 10.
If the American men would have checked like that. He's a tough guy. He pops right up. Now look at the double team down Negro with Kevin Garnett, the doubler. Avery to Jaren. Good pass by Avery Johnson. Jaren missed the 3, although I think the left jaw. Jaren Jackson is still wobbling. Well, Terry Porter zoned out there and thought Cherokee Parks was Kevin Garnett.
Oh, he completely zoned out, too. He just threw a lackadaisical left-hand pass off the dribble and just threw it way over the top of the rim. No chance to get that one.
You go up and dunk that off the top of the dome. Woo. Only Minnesota's 6th turnover of the game. Spurs do have a 13-rebound edge, though, at 34-21. Perdue slapped away beautifully by Marbury, but Marbury stepped out of bounds, so his takeaway will be short-lived.
Got a nice takeaway right there as the Timberwolves rotated real nice, too.
Starting 5 remains out there for the Spurs. The Timberwolves now have Anthony Peeler at big guard, replacing Terry Porter. Duncan, that's a 3-second violation on the extra move. He is called for the turnover.
That's a great opportunity right there, too, but Kevin Garnett just lay in waiting right behind him. And made him take a couple of extra dribbles.
Sam Mitchell inbounds to Cherokee Parks. Here comes Stephon Marbury, celebrated his 21st birthday last Friday night. Cherokee Parks makes it a 4-point game.
See, when you have a guy like Marbury, everybody pays so much attention to him, and you make that pick and all of a sudden you roll. Look at the great open shots these guys are getting. Just point-blank range right at the rim.
Garnett fronts Duncan. Avery now gets it into him anyway as Duncan came around. They doubled him. Nice play. Avery scores. Marbury came over to double on Duncan, and Duncan found the cutting Avery Johnson. He gets one of those, at least one of those every single game.
Because he sets people up so nicely, too, on the cut. Once they turn their heads, he heads right on down to a clear path to the hoop.
Garnett up with nowhere to go. Lucky to avoid the turnover. Marbury's quickness saved him there. And Avery Johnson will get it. Avery gets it and scores before Garnett and Marbury can close on him. And the Spurs have an 8-point lead.
He didn't cut through the first time, but the second time he decided to come on back once they ran that pick and roll again. And this time got a nice interception for a good basket.
Marbury drops for Parks, scores, foul. He'll go for a 3-point play. Wow, what a play by Cherokee.
Oh.
Let's go back to a couple of baskets from Avery Johnson.
Man, I'll tell you what, we see David and Avery work this play all the time now. And here it is with Tim taking over for the Admiral, running on through, as Avery cuts on through. And right there, you see Avery in anticipation of that pick and roll, coming on through, cutting it off, and taking it down to the bucket.
Cherokee Parks knocks home his free throw, completing a 3-point play. Cherokee has scored 9 points off the bench, came into the game with a scoring average of just slightly better than 7. 62-57 Spurs. 5.5 to go. Third quarter from the Alamo Dome. Duncan against Garnett. Mitchell over to double. Gets back down to Jaren Jackson. Jaren his own miss. They set it up again.
It's a good play right there. Now reset everything. See if you can get a better bucket off of a new executed play.
Avery now runs the pick and roll with Will Perdue. Didn't do much, and a foul is called inside on Kevin Garnett, I believe, or is it on Parks? And they got it on Parks. He was bumping with Perdue, but also Garnett and Duncan were bumping, and they get it on Parks here.
If these guys roll and try to get position inside, you can see he just grabs him and just whips him around. Easy call for referee.
I guess so.
That was easy.
That's a foul. Grabbed him around the way. So Will on the line. Boy, Will getting the ball very high into the air. He's going with physics here. As high as he can get it up. is going to help around basketball go through a round hoop.
Man, he touched every part of that rim, too.
64-57, Will Perdue. Another double-double for Will tonight. 10 points, 14 rebounds. Parks misses. Rebound, Will Perdue. And he throws it right to a guy eating popcorn in the first row who wasn't watching. And guess what happened?
Yeah, tough situation right there.
Good thing you didn't go for the extra butter, sir.
Telling you what.
Now, the basketball game, you're okay. Try that in the baseball game. You won't be so okay.
It'll be too hot right there, too. Will threw that basketball, but Garnett never saw the ball coming.
Neither did our Orville Redenbacher over here. Marbury out to Sam Mitchell. You got to cover up that shot, but Mitchell missed it. Shot it too flat. Spurs up 7. They want to get it into Duncan against Garnett. And Duncan got his own miss and scores eventually.
Making it very difficult to get the play, but that's just some perseverance right there by Duncan to keep after it.
Tim Duncan was 6 of his 17 in this third quarter. A quarter that has seen the Spurs maintain a good lead. It's 9 now. Garnett leans in, bricks one. Gets his own miss. Another miss, another tip, another miss. Spurs ball. Garnett is frigid. Kevin Garnett 4 for 13 after a 5 for 5 start. And Vinny Del Negro's hit 6 of 7 tonight. Timeout, Minnesota. The Spurs lead by 12. Pardon me, Tom Hammond's trying to cut into it, goes in again, and it gets stopped again.
Man, Will was just staying right on it, too. Didn't take his eye off the ball. That was a nice block on Hammond.
Tom Hammond is in playing up front. That moves Garnett to center. Hammond's playing at power forward. Cherokee Parks is out. Del Negro misses. A one-hand rebound by Kevin Garnett. Here's Stephon Marbury. Picked up well by Perdue. The dump off to Mitchell. And a late foul call. They'll keep it here and call it on the Spurs. 3:03 to go in the quarter. Spurs up 12. Marbury with a quick three. And a tightly defended three.
Oh, yeah, he's not in rhythm right now, too. That was a difficult shot, just trying to pop up and shoot a three with somebody guarding you.
Here's Carl Herrera. What a first half he had. Left-handed, no. And a rebound pulled by Anthony Peeler. Here's Marbury. And Marbury gets himself fouled. Stephon Marbury clearly now is going to look to take it over. Maybe he has to, though, with Tom Gugliotta out to injury. And Kevin Garnett really struggling.
You can see him doing a lot more probing right now, though, so that's going to have to be dealt with before this fourth quarter comes, because he's going to try to get those points as well as assists.
Marbury made the first free throw. This Thursday, of course, is Spurs Day in the Express News. Every Thursday is. Great way to find out the lowdown on your Spurs. You know about the Admiral, but on Thursday you're going to learn about the Commander. The team's equipment manager, the invaluable Clarence Reinhardt, will be featured. Without the Commander, the Admiral wouldn't be dressed for games. Uniform-wise. David does pretty well when he's injured, though.
Oh, he looks good. Now they got to deal with the trap right now. The ball movement is going to be the key to this whole thing, finding those openings.
Shot clock at 7. Perdue up top. Del Negro. Good defense by Anthony Peeler. Doug West was having a very poor year with Minnesota when they traded him last Wednesday for Peeler. Kevin Garnett with Minnesota's 25th and 26 points in the paint. If he plays at all late now, the way he played early, the Spurs could have a problem.
Yeah, this doubling is hurting the Spurs also, because once they do get out of it, it doesn't give them much time to set up their plays and puts guys out of position.
Flip Saunders likes to go to a trap in the half court. He's doing it effectively here. Shot clock at 4. Monty Williams has it blocked, stays with it, and gets fouled.
Just an aggressive action right there, and got lucky, bailed out a little bit on that play. Was able to get to the free throw line.
Foul on Tom Hammonds, the rugged Tom Hammonds. He got fined $7,500 last week for his clothesline on Derek Harper. Let's get more in depth here what's going on in the paint. Our associates in the paint statistics. Spurs controlling the rebounding, the offensive rebounding, and overall they have out-rebounded the T-Wolves 41-26. And Minnesota's a pretty good rebounding club.
They're a good rebounding club, but the Spurs right now are doing an even better job. But what they have to do is make sure and get past right now this trap that's coming up on them.
And Kevin Garnett is the guy that is roaming and doubling, and at 7 feet. They list him at 6'11", but he's really a 7-footer. Those long arms. He is a real presence. Carl Herrera stuffed Sam Mitchell once, but not twice, and Mitchell gets fouled on the second one, and he'll go for a three-point play.
Got a nice little scramble in there, too. Carl Herrera came up with a nice block on him, but he stayed with it. Got the basketball back and got fouled through it.
Sam Mitchell will be on the line trying to knock off this three-point play. He became Minnesota's all-time leading rebounder last week, passing Christian Laettner, and he is their #2 all-time scorer. Went to Indiana in between a couple of stints in the Twin Cities. 71-64. Sam Mitchell with 9 points tonight. Here's Del Negro from the corner. Tough shot. Rebound. Hammonds pulls, and it was knocked away, but grabbed by Garnett. Anthony Peeler feeds Mitchell from that right corner again. It is 71-66 now. The San Antonio Spurs lead is down to 5, and it was 12 not too long ago. 1 minute to go in the quarter.
Quick ball movement right now.
Boy, this trap has become a death trap.
Because it's slowing the Spurs down and getting them out of any execution that they need to have.
And any shot they are getting usually late on the clock. Duncan pulls a offensive rebound on the miss by Monty Williams. Shot clock at 15 now as the ball swung left side to Del Negro. Duncan trying to come across. They bump him, he gets there. Now he's got to deal with Garnett. And he scores right over him.
See, it's just so much stronger that once he gets good position on Garnett, he's so thin, Garnett is, that Tim was able to just go to the basket right through him.
Mitchell fouled again by Monty Williams. That's Monty's 4th. And with precisely 24 seconds to play, Sam Mitchell will shoot 2 more free throws.
Tim Duncan has an opportunity. He gets nice position right here. After the swing-through move, you can see he makes contact with Garnett, but he's just so much stronger that he just takes him right to the hole. Watch the contact right here. Not even able to stop him, as he just goes strong right through him to the basket.
Chris Carr comes back in for Minnesota. Malik Rose is back in now. Again, Monty Williams with more foul trouble will give Malik Rose the opening to play on. Malik played extremely well in the second quarter.
Chris Carr needs some playing time, though, because I just saw him run on the court, and he looked like he was still hobbling a little bit on that ankle.
Well, look at him run. My, you're right, Ro. He's not.
That is not smooth.
He's missed their last 11 games with a sprained left ankle. Looks like he has a razor blade in that left sneaker. Shot clock off. Here's your last play of the third quarter. Spurs trying to build on this lead of 6. Hammonds fronts Duncan. It's not going to be a good shot. Air ball. Malik Rose. It counts. Quick thinking by Rose. Caught the air ball and put it in before the quarter expired. One, actually a couple, as the young man sits down to the 14,422 to join us inside the dome tonight. And here is what has transpired. The Timberwolves, after a torrid start, led by Kevin Garnett, 17-point first quarter, have cooled off. The Spurs were very good in the second quarter. The third quarter was a wash. And we begin the fourth quarter with the Spurs up 8. Eddie Del Negro on the ricochet. 75-67. Spurs trying to break their 2-game losing streak and Minnesota's 2-game winning streak. Malik Rose goes back door. Herrera deciding not to pass it. Probably wisely. That would have been a tough skip pass. Pick and roll, Avery and Duncan. Avery fires it down.
Good opportunity right there, too. Got some nice ball movement, and also the bodies were moving as they were pressing, which gave them some nice openings as Avery saw that jumper and put it down.
Spurs back up by 10 points. Marbury to Chris Carr to a cutting Peeler. Peeler began his career with the Lakers. Malik Rose slapping down. What a great defensive job on Malik. Malik Rose has not played since the 28th of January, a game against the Clippers, 9 straight games. And he is one of the guys that they needed to step up tonight. Oh, Anthony Peeler left unguarded on the inbound, scores an easy one.
Well, that's one thing you never do as an out-of-bounds player guarding the ball out of bounds, is that you never jump out to the right side, because once you do that, you open the middle up and therefore got a chance to go right down to the middle and make a bucket.
Malik Rose, one of a half dozen, playing well tonight. They have given the Spurs a combined 50 points tonight. Malik Rose playing extremely well. He has scored 7 points in 10 minutes. Well, a guy has not played since the 28th of January. To come in here cold like this and play this well is remarkable.
Everybody knows that they're being counted upon, and these guys just have to step it on up, keep themselves in great condition.
Almost a full month of inactivity. I don't care how much you practice. This is something you can't simulate. Avery barely grazed the rim, but the Timberwolves get the rebound. Here's Marbury up the floor. 77-70. A bullet past Tom Hammonds. Just dropped a layup.
What a wonderful pass also. Everybody's looking all around the court. Marbury picked him right on out. Went right off his fingertips.
That may be it. Marbury's going to say, I'm never going to pass it again. I'm going to score every time.
Scoring point guards do that too.
I gave you your chance. It's over now. Malik Rose getting another chance, and as he responded. What a game for Malik. 9 points rolled in 11 minutes.
Man, what a shot as he went through the double team.
Herrera blocking Roberts. Duncan wants it back. He ran the floor to go into the post. They skip it though, and Vinny Del Negro's wide open. Rebound, Herrera and Roberts fight for, and Stanley's too big.
Way too big right there. You can see him take up all that space to try to get that basketball.
Well, he can be a very effective player. When he's out there, he's pretty good. There's a foul. Vinny Del Negro picks up a charge.
Getting an opportunity to battle Chris right there too. And I know his ankle is still hurting him too, so he's still not moving so very well.
Now he's really laboring to get up and down the floor, and he's a great court runner. Began his career with the Phoenix Suns, one of the great leapers and long-range shooters in the NBA. But not tonight. He cannot move, cannot get off the floor on that ankle. 2 minutes gone, fourth quarter. Spurs up 9. Into Duncan. Tom Hammonds defends him. The skip to Avery Johnson in the corner to Malik Rose. Rebound to Hammonds. Peeler to Marbury. Marbury will give his teammates with a shot at a card. 3-0.
He's just off right now. Just doesn't have that good rhythm of being so much time off. That he just doesn't have that good feel.
Well, that's it. He's coming out. They're going to bring Terry Porter back in for Carr. They're also going to bring Garnett back in for either Hammonds or Roberts. Malik Rose.
Those are the same good moves he practices before the games all the time out here very early, trying to put the moves together. Now he gets an opportunity to use it.
Timeout called by Flip Saunders. Malik Rose, 11 points in his return.
Welcome back to the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Just less than 9 minutes left to play in this game. San Antonio leading Minnesota by 11. Checking other NBA scores tonight, the Rockets lose to Washington. New York surprised by Golden State. Elsewhere, the Lakers lead Milwaukee. Miami leads Utah. Big game there for as far as Spurs fans are concerned. And Phoenix all over Philly starting the third. Right now, let's go back to Greg and Roe.
All right, the big upset there involving the Warriors winning at Madison Square Garden. The Warriors only 12 wins all year, but they won 4 of their last 6. Anthony Peeler trying to slip it into Kevin Garnett, throws it away. The Spurs here with 8.5 to play lead Flip Saunders and the Timberwolves 81-70.
The Spurs are doing a good job now moving the basketball, except for on that play right there, but they were doing a good job on it.
And that half-court trap that Saunders likes to go to results in another turnover and gets Terry Porter onto the free throw line, fouled by the retreating defense. Spurs with 15 turnovers, and Vinny Del Negro forced to get back, picks up his 3rd foul of the game.
That's the only thing Minnesota wants right now, is to get into that defense that they have right now, trapping defense, and see if the Spurs will turn it over so they can, on the other end, try to get some easy points on the run.
Terry Porter. Long-time Portland Trailblazer, played there for 10 years. 2-time All-Star, went to 2 NBA Finals with them. And he signed on with the Wolves as a free agent. and finishing up the 3-year deal he signed this season.
He still can play, so I'm sure if he wants to continue to hoop, there's going to be a place for Terry Porter.
(81-72). Porter's 2 free throws. Only his 6th and 7th points of the evening. There's a foul back on the other end called on the Timberwolves. Actually, a legal defense is the call.
Once you're playing that zone, and Vinny Del Negro right there probed the defense by moving along the baseline, and no one guarded him, had to call him legal defense on the Timberwolves.
Only the first time they've been called for that, so only a warning. Next time it will result in a technical free throw. Well, Anthony Peeler, an obvious foul, and he points back at Carl Herrera, saying Herrera, in setting the pick, is forcing me. What's he doing here, Ro?
He's just complaining right now that Carl Herrera is moving the screen, and he has to grab Vinny Del Negro in order to negate that, but he just can't put his hands on Vinny. He has to move that by himself.
Anthony Peeler really laying into referee Scott Wall. Anthony can be a volatile guy. Duncan blocked just as he came out the weak side. What a block that was. Malik Rose stays with it, goes up and gets himself fouled. Where would the Spurs be without Malik Rose tonight?
They're moving all through, and everybody's right on the board, too. Herrera's the one that got knocked down and got fouled first. Didn't call that one, but Malik stayed right after it. These guys are going for it, too. Tim goes to the basket, and they get a little bit of a hit. Watch Herrera get bumped right here. Boom, he goes down, but Malik stays right with it and gets the call.
And Malik Rose drops home his free throw. Malik, a 66% free throw shooter this year. Will Perdue back in, and Carl Herrera leaves.
All these guys are going to get their opportunities. Anytime you have Chuck Person out, Robinson out, Elliott out, guys are going to get their opportunities to do a good job because they're needed right now.
The 12 points that Malik has scored is already tied a season high for him, and he's got 8 minutes to get a new one. Anthony Peeler into Stanley Roberts. Roberts turns, misses. Rebound, loose ball foul.
I don't know what kind of shot that was. Stanley gets the basketball, just turns around and misses a grip completely.
But the foul is called. Stanley Roberts makes the free throw, his first point of the game. Roberts went up for a dunk on the second missed free throw and missed it.
Just the elevation just wasn't there.
Vinny Del Negro, big shot. Big shot by Vinny. 11-point Spur lead.
Vinny getting that rhythm back.
Terry Porter, watched by Avery Johnson. Del Negro guards Peeler. Marbury's off the floor for the Wolves. Porter plays point guard. Garnett goes to work. Kevin Garnett. Oh, Roberts puts this one back in. Kevin Garnett having a hard time scoring though over Vic Stanley. Able to put it back down. 84-75. Peeler picks up Avery quickly. Into Duncan. Watched by Hammonds. No double team, so he fires. Rebound pulled by Peeler. Peeler playing very ruggedly tonight. Good pass. Garnett. Oh, he can't make a shot.
Got an opportunity right there. Turned around for the dunk and just missed it.
And back on the other end, Duncan misses. Bodies all over the place. Anthony Peeler. Porter. A wide open three after angling out to the corner, and Terry Porter drives home a three. Over his last 21 games, he is shooting 45% beyond the line. That's a huge shot to cut the lead to 6.
Really took his time on that play right after the up fake and drilled it.
Duncan being leaned on, now being doubled upon. And Anthony Peeler picks up the foul. Let's go back to the Anthony Peeler sequence. He missed a dunk after a free throw And then Stanley, after missing this jam roll, will get it straight the second time on a missed shot by Garnett.
Tried to get it through on the first time, but no elevation this time, just because Tim and also Will were fighting for it. Got an opportunity right there to get the ball back and put it through.
We've had a technical foul called on Anthony Peeler. So Vinny Del Negro will shoot the technical and make it. I mentioned earlier that Peeler can be a volatile guy. He can just go off. And now Porter's saying, if you want to play with us, we need you to calm down and be smart.
Well, you got to calm down because it's a tough and a tight basketball game. You can't have 3 points being given up by your team.
Duncan against Hammonds. Goes middle, and Peeler knocked it away. Garnett picks it up. Porter goes right for the line again. Rebound Perdue, and Peeler bump. It's out of bounds. Off of Peeler, they say. And that's where his ongoing feud with the referees may have cost him a call. They had to go off of Will Perdue.
Exactly. A tough situation right there. But you mouth off of the referees. Anytime it's close, they can make it go either way.
Peeler looked over your way for some mercy. No mercy here. Here's Duncan. Double. Got fouled. Scored it. Big play by Duncan.
Man, you have to have some strength in order to get that ball up the way he was double teamed on that low post to break through and still make the bucket. After Rose throws in the basketball, he gets the ball right in here, and he has this double team on him and busts through it and still able to put it on through.
And you have mentioned Duncan's strength repeatedly in the second half of the game. Kevin Garnett may be the springier player, but clearly Tim Duncan has the more polished, firmly rooted to the ground game and just the overall body strength to make plays. Well, Garnett here continues to shoot. Oh, he got a jumper to go down, but he has really fallen off since his massive first quarter.
And he's going for it still, though, trying to get points on the board and still continues to shoot.
25 for Garnett.
Cross-court pass right there by Malika. Always a dangerous pass.
Porter, he checked the clock before he made the three. Is he cool? My word.
A tie one at the Alamodome. San Antonio leading by 5 with 5:04 left to play. This was the scene at halftime. David Robinson, that's right, Mr. Robinson's neighborhood of student achievers, as David presented Laurie Charles an autographed jersey. Now, what Mr. Robinson's neighborhood is all about, it's about recognizing student achievers in public elementary, middle, and high schools. At every Spurs game, David has done this since 1990. Greg?
And now David will be the studiest student. Check out the last 5 here. Avery Johnson, the left-hand runner, tipped around. That's a goaltend. Score the basket to Malik Rose.
Staying right under the bucket, too. These guys are really following up each other's shots very well. That's the aggressiveness that the Spurs need.
Seven-point lead. Roberts a little too hard. Rebound run down by Garnett. Marbury to his left. Hammonds thought he was going to shoot, and Marbury passed.
Right now they're not communicating and getting in touch with each other right there. Stephon goes up in the air. Hammonds turns his head. Ball goes right out of bounds.
4:20. Spurs up 7. Into Duncan. They doubled him. Nice pass over the top of Beauty. Avery missed the wide open shot. Avery Johnson has had a hard time shooting the basketball game tonight.
A tough call right there, too, by Joe Forty as Malik went up in the air and Hammonds just slashed the ball out.
Marbury loves to go baseline. Will Perdue knew it, got there, but blocked it with a foul.
That's too bad. He was over so quick that he went on that baseline side, just got to the bucket before anybody could get any position on him.
He really is quick going to the baseline, especially on the other side, but he takes it strong to the right side.
Some superior quickness that he has, though, being able to put that ball on the floor and carry that speed with him with the basketball going to the bucket.
Marbury is 70% free throw shooter with his great quickness. He is among the leaders at the point guard position and getting to the free throw line, shooting more than 6 free throw attempts a game. Marbury made those 2. He has 15 points tonight. And we have a 5-point San Antonio lead with 3:45 to go. What a pass by Perdue. But while Malik Rose caught it underneath, a simultaneous illegal defense was being called by Sean Corbin. And that'll result in a technical free throw to be shot by Vinny Del Negro.
Now they're getting a good opportunity, though, as they set up that zone defense. The Spurs are moving around and players are not following, and give the opportunity now to put some points on the board.
Vinny trying to make it a 6-point game. This being game 1 of a 3-game homestand. The Toronto Raptors will be here on Thursday. Don't miss the game. It's an HEB KJ97 Ladies Night. First 100 ladies to sign up will get a chance to shoot for great prizes from HEB at halftime. Good seats available. 224-9600. I'll be joined by Doc Rivers on Thursday, I think. Is it Doc or is it you, Ray?
It's Doc Rivers.
It's Doc.
Be here.
I never know till we just go on the air. I look to my left and see who's there. Shot clock at 7. Vinny fading to his left. Got it blocked. Oh, a late foul call. Who'd they get that on? Oh, it's on Anthony Peeler. He may just bug out here.
That was a good play, though. It was a good play. The foul call came late, but at least it was right. You can see Vinny's feeling it right now, just setting him up with a nice dribbles, get the basketball up in the air, getting hit on that arm.
Tough call. Vinny Del Negro. Good shooting game tonight for Vinny.
More and more Vinny plays, and the more and more he gets out there, gets some shots in his area, he'll be able to be a viable part of what's happening, because with him shooting the basketball and being able to put that ball in the hole, you'll have a good guy to go to because he can drill him.
I think it's the new haircut.
I like it too. Nice and neat.
93-85. Del Negro with 19 points tonight. By far his best outing since his recent injury when he hyperextended the elbow. Peeler drives it right through. Anthony Peeler can be a volume scorer.
And he's a dangerous one and a good acquisition also for the Timberwolves. Play some hard defense and be able to put that ball in the hole.
They got him from Vancouver last Wednesday, giving up Doug West, the last of the original Timberwolves. Shot clock at 5. Duncan's got to go.
Man, was that sweet or was that sweet?
It was sweet.
Off the glass by Duncan.
26 for Tim Duncan. 8 points. Spurs are matching baskets, and the Timberwolves have got to get on a roll here. Garnett to Marbury. Fade by Stefan. Got fouled. They'll be on the line for 2 more.
Working that 2-on-2 play right over here, too. Going with each other, trying to utilize their strengths.
There's the Duncan bank a moment ago.
This is a rough play right here, too. Malik goes to the basket, doesn't have a nice shot, and fades on back, hits it, kisses it off the glass, and goes through.
Marbury makes it 95-88. We have 2.5 minutes to play from the Dome.
You know, one big point that people always talk about is the way Tim Duncan utilizes the glass on his shots, and not a lot of people utilize it that way, and he does a good job of it, too. Going back to the old school, the only one I can remember is Rudy Tomjanovich, but he used to shoot from way outside.
Sam Jones was a great bank shooter with the Celtics.
Okay, G, you're going way back now.
Well, I was too young. People tell me that. People tell me that. Duncan. Rebounded by Will Perdue. Two minutes to go. Will Perdue a screen. Avery back to Will. Beautifully done. He missed the shot once, but not twice. Big play by Will. Spurs up 8.
Nice play by Avery. Knew Will was going to be there off of that double.
Marbury middle. Marbury all the way in. Marbury gets himself to the line again.
Just trying to probe that defense, and also Malik took a nice little whack to the nose as Marbury went to the basket.
Malik picks up his 3rd foul. Stephon Marbury has scored 10 of his 15 points in the fourth quarter. He wants 2 more. Stay tuned after the game. 2-minute warning. Here's what's coming up right after our game. The Heat and Jazz. Big implications for the Spurs. Rockets and Wizards tonight from D.C. and also Texas, Oklahoma State. That'll be right after our game. 97-91 here. We have 1:45 to play. Marbury, 2 more free throws. Trap. Duncan breaks it to Negro. Avery rolled through, but Vinny backed away to Malik Rose. Shot clock ticking down to 12. And now the handoff to Avery. Del Negro. Malik, good catch. Malik Rose got blocked by Kevin Garnett. Here comes Stephon Marbury. Goes baseline, middle, missed. Big play by Duncan, out of bounds. It'll be Minnesota's ball still. Wait a moment here. Perdue says you're nuts. You're nuts. Duncan jumps in and makes sure a technical's not called. We may have a change, and they are going to change it. Corbin says, I pointed the wrong way. It is Spurs ball.
It's a good play right there, too, for referees getting together, making sure that the right call is made.
1:18 to go. Duncan inbounds with Kevin Garnett defending him. Duncan can't find anybody. Now he gets to Del Negro, back to Tim. Oh, they break it beautifully. 2-on-1. Perdue gets fouled. Textbook on how to break a full court trap.
Exactly right. The team that's trapping always is the one with the disadvantage. All you have to do is make sure and be aggressive and make the good plays.
Will Perdue, earlier in this quarter, turning in our sonic play of the game on the pick and roll. He blew the first shot, but hung with it and put it back in. Another huge night for Will Perdue. Oh, I'd like to have that done.
I sure would. Time to start putting some free throws in right now. This is the important part of the game.
Malik Rose, big night. His first game since the 28th of January, a stretch of 9 consecutive, what they call DNP CDs, where you don't play as you can't get into the rotation. Did not play / coach's decision. Did you ever have one of those in your career? Obviously not.
Well, I had quite a few, especially when
early in your career. It is Avery Johnson, Vinny Del Negro, Jaren Jackson with Malik and Tim Duncan. Kevin Garnett to inbound from midcourt. Here comes Peter. The ball goes deep left corner for Porter for a step back 3. Hit the side of the backboard. Rebound Avery. Avery up the floor to Del Negro. They have a 2-on-1 if they want it. Jackson will back away and run clock. Less than a minute to go. Shot clock at 12 now. Foul. Anthony Peeler fouls Jaren Jackson. And that will give Jaren 2 free throws with 54 and 7/10 seconds remaining.
Important part right now just to be able to just do exactly what they did there. Come up the court, waste some time, move the basketball around unless you have a clear layup. And last but not least, Greg, hit those free throws.
And Jaren is a good free throw shooter, an 80%er. The first one's a huge one. It gives you essentially a 3-possession lead. It puts you up by 7. And with a 3-point goal in the NBA, that means they'd have to have it 3 times. Now you're up 8. 99-91. Timeout, Minnesota. Ooh, Sam Mitchell going big game hunting here. Drives home a 3-point goal. That makes it a 5-point game. 46 seconds to go. Duncan's got inbound before the clock hits 5 to Jackson. And now an intentional foul picked up by Anthony Peeler. But Jackson's the guy the Spurs want on the line. He made just 2. And he is one of their very best free throw shooters.
He has to put these down because not a lot of time came off of that clock right now. With still 43.9 seconds left to go. These guys still have to be able to move that ball up the court and waste some time off that clock.
In fact, Roe, on pure percentage, he is the highest shooter on the club. He's 2 for 2 tonight, 80% for the year. He doesn't shoot many, but normally makes them good except for this time. He missed the first one. Ouch.
This is big opportunities right now just to be able to settle down because everyone knows that the last part of the game is going to come down to shooting some threes.
He missed both. Timeout, Minnesota, 20 after Terry Porter got the rebound. Hold on here. They're going to call a foul on this rebound?
Joe's calling a foul, looks like to me.
Here comes Marbury. Dropped to the Porter off the floor. Porter fires up a three. Backboard. He forced that one up. Rebound Duncan. Duncan got fouled. So Duncan will be on the line with 31.2 to go. Terry Porter really wanted to take that three, even though it was not there for him. He threw one up.
Yeah, he had to throw it up simply because he had to try to get a shot up quickly, too. They ran a play before, pick and roll screen that Sam Mitchell wasn't aware of, and almost lost the basketball.
Oh, good news from Salt Lake City. The Miami Heat have held off and beaten the Utah Jazz by 2 points.
Get out of there! Get out of there!
Oh, Duncan twice on the left side of the rim and then down. If the Spurs win this game tonight, they will pull within 1 game of Utah for the Midwest Division Championship. Utah's going to have to play Phoenix on Thursday and then at Houston on Sunday in a national TV game. Meanwhile, the Spurs will have a couple of very winnable games coming up this week. So a solid game for Tim Duncan tonight. 28 points, including 9 in the 4th quarter and 2 big free throws a moment ago. Duncan will defend tightly on Kevin Garnett, the inbounder. It goes to Marbury, watched by Avery. Marbury lets fly a three. What a shot by Stephon Marbury.
What a skill move right there.
Duncan's got to inbound. He can't, so he calls a timeout. The inbounder will be Malik Rose. They're not going to guard him. Kevin Garnett turns his back on Rose. Malik looks it over, almost stumbles, then gives the ball to Del Negro. And Marbury wraps him up around the waist and intentionally fouls Vinny Del Negro with 23 and 7/10 seconds remaining. So Vinny will be on the line trying to take a 4-point lead and stretch it out to 6.
Big movement right here. We just get down to the end of the basketball game like this, and all of this comes down to just making sure that you're passing the basketball well, making good passes, and in the end just hitting those free throws to keep them away from what they have, and not letting them score quickly once they do get the basketball back.
Vinny Del Negro perfect tonight. 71% on the year, well off his career figure of 84% coming in. His wife Lynn looking on, and now looking at herself up at the scoreboard.
All of a sudden, you see when people see themselves in score, where they get quiet. It's like, let's just get a little self-conscious about that.
102-97 Spurs. One more big one for Vinny. Got them all. He's got all 6 down tonight. Nice free throwing performance by the Spurs. Even though Perdue missed those 2, they've made most of the big ones. Marbury will not let this game end peacefully, though. Another big basket by Stephon, and the Timberwolves are still within reach here. This is the longest last 2 minutes of a game I can remember.
I know, and that's some serious moves he made coming up the floor.
Well, we have not yet heard our last word in this one. Stephon Marbury's been noisy down the stretch.
Exactly. These are some good possessions right here to just get the basketball in bounds.
Malik to Del Negro. Oh, what a catch by Del Negro up against the line. Somebody help Vinny. He throws it up for grabs, stole it. Up the floor, Vinny got it back. Terry Porter threw it away, and Del Negro eventually gets fouled. That's not the way they planned it, but Vinny eventually got fouled.
Got the basketball back, and Terry Porter tries to thread the needle to a streaking Marbury, but Vinny gets his hand on it and gets the ball back.
And that's the very reason why we were debating whether to inbound from the end line or at midcourt. When you inbound from midcourt and you throw it to guy up against the sideline and they trap him up against the sideline and the midcourt line, he's in trouble.
He's in trouble. He was in trouble right there. The Timberwolves got the ball back, but my goodness, Terry Porter makes that play. Then he's able to get it back.
Vinny Del Negro makes the free throw. I wonder what Lynn was doing during that sequence, that her husband was like hanging off a cliff there.
All the wives are always that way too. Well, I tell you what, they're feeling it too, because they wanted to be so successful.
Even though he threw it away, he took it right back. Del Negro, big free throwing game. Nice performance for Vinny Del Negro. 23 points for Vinny. Marbury keeps chucking right to the very end. For Vinny Del Negro, the 23 points are a season high. Malik Rose ties his season high with a dozen. And the Spurs get the victory to pull within a game of Utah